Okay, so I had the opportunity to job shadow James Kirkham, and he has a law firm here in Ellensburg. He's a defense lawyer, and he mostly handles criminal law. Just something that I want to keep you aware of is I can't really talk about the content or talk about specific conversations that I had, just because everything has to be so confidential, and they really stress that with me. I think I can talk a little bit about the public trials, because people can look those up and anyone can go sit in the courthouse and watch those, but I just don't want it to be like, oh, I didn't pick up any information, when really I just got to keep a lot of it confidential. But anyways, I got in there pretty early in the morning, and we were doing trial prep for James for his cases in the afternoon. So a lot of the information had been gathered, but we were just making sure we had everything, and if we didn't have anything, then we had to go retrieve it, and that was pretty fun. We have to pick up, anything from their background, and we have to pick up the actual paperwork of the state versus the defendant, and those were mostly for DUI, MIP, traffic infractions. It wasn't anything super serious until we got to one specific case, and then we had to do a little bit more work with that one, just because it was a bigger charge, and it wasn't against the state, it was a plaintiff and a defendant. And so yeah, then after that we got to go down to the courthouse, and I actually got to watch James in action. I got to meet a lot of the clients, which is really awesome, and I really appreciate them putting their trust in me, a complete stranger, but they were really on board. It was really awesome. I just sat there for what seemed like years, but it was really just a couple hours, and I watched court cases, and I watched James, the way that he interacted with the judge, interacted with, in one case, the plaintiff, and seeing his composure and the way that he knew, to what seemed to others that he knew what the outcome was going to be, but after speaking to him, he's like, that could have gone, one of two ways, and I just did what I had to do, and justice serve itself. And so that was pretty cool to be able to see him kind of see his game in the courthouse, and see how composed he was, and very calm and collected, and as opposed to me, I was already at the edge of my chair on my toes. I was just so eager to find out what was going to happen and find out what the judge was going to decide. But I'm trying to read this assignment thing that you sent out, but the value of this experience to you and the person and company you shadowed. The value to me was, I have a really good family friend who's a lawyer, and they always tell me not to do it, and actually James told me not to do it. He's like, you seem like you're too nice, and I don't think it's a matter of being too kind. I genuinely want to help people, and there was one specific case, I can't really talk about a lot of it, but someone was being charged with a second DUI, so it was a violation of probation, and this individual was going to go to jail. And while sitting and talking with this person, we were just reading them, what was going to happen, what they were doing, what the outcome of their plea was going to give them. And this individual was very receptive, and they knew that they had done wrong, and they respected that. They took on responsibility, and I had never thought meeting the defense would be so iconic to me, just because I had always pictured me not being on that side, and I don't really know for sure if I would want to be a defense lawyer, but just seeing those people know that they have done wrong, and seeing that glimpse of hope, and seeing so much good, and that's so enclosed in so much bad, it was really awesome. It was eye-opening to me, and seeing James and that person's interaction. James is such a cool guy, and he wanted to ensure them that they didn't need to worry about paying him right at the moment, and that he was going to work with them and do everything that he could. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. What attracted you to the shadow professional? Again, like I said, a lot of people in my family wanted to be a lawyer. My dad kind of got me started on it just because he's like, well, you like to argue all the time. And I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And I just am really fascinated by the law, and I love like taking it apart and depicting like what is right and what is not. And it's also pretty cool to go back on previous cases and look at things that have changed so drastically from then until now. It's such a cool thing to me, and I just love learning about it. I love learning about specific people and like their circumstances and what might have caused them to do what they did. And that's when I just Googled lawyers in Ellensburg, just because I know a lot back home and I know a lot in Ephrata for Superior Court, but I didn't know anyone here, and Kittitas County is such a big court. So I just reached out, and James was one of the first to pop up, and I've heard a lot of good things about him. And so I just went with him, and it was super awesome. He actually went to Central and graduated, and then he graduated from Gonzaga with his law degree. And so he's really adamant about school involvement and helping Central and students in any way that he can. And that was pretty awesome too, because he was just so willing to share all this information with me, and he really did trust me, and I feel so honored that I had the opportunity to assist him that day. How do I feel about my professional goals? I'm so excited to study law, and a lot of that is because of James, but a lot of that is because of the professors here at Central. I had a professor for a law class, and he totally changed my world. At the end of the class, he reached out to me and he said, "You are going to do so well in this field." And that just like spoke volumes to me, because I know this is something that I want to do. I just needed someone to tell me, you're gonna do great at this. Someone in the field. Like, obviously I have my parents who are super awesome, all my friends, but I needed someone with that experience to reassure me that you are gonna do great. And so that was pretty cool. And now he is like one of my mentors, someone I turn to for everything. And I went and spoke to him before I did this job shadow, and he highly encouraged me to do it. And I just feel so excited, and I'm really happy that I got to do this assignment, because I am a freshman here at Central, and it's kind of hard to like step out of your comfort zone in that sense. I was going to do it at home, but it's really awesome that I'm doing it here in Ellensburg, the place where I'm now living. So yeah. But thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much for the class here. Thank you for being understanding. You are such an awesome professor, and a lot of people have asked me about taking your class, and I'll tell them yes. So thank you so much. See you soon.